Washington, D.C. on the Mall was June 11th, 2001. I was 14 years old, and it was just 3 months before the enemy attack on our nation that changed everything and spawned an atmosphere of national crisis. Unlike most of you, however, I have since lived almost half of my life in the shadow of crisis. Financial crisis, moral crisis, economic crisis, crisis in our homes, crisis in our families, and crisis in our lives. But I have hope. I have hope for a revitalization of the American Founding Principles. I have hope because with crisis comes the opportunity for us to change. In crisis, we become aware of what we value, how we act, and as Abraham Lincoln so aptly stated, crisis tests whether this nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. I say it can. I say it must. I say it will. But I say if we choose to change. The last presidential campaign was won on the promise of hope. Hope is what the people need. It is what they want. But it was in the promised hope that the government would save us, not in the hope that the people would rise up and overcome. The last presidential campaign was won on the promise of change. Change that once again the government would try and changes from a discontented and fearful people to a content and happy people. But this is a lie, because there is a fundamental truth. Powerful, long-lasting change originates in the hearts, minds, and actions of the people, not in the good intentions of the government. My hope is that you will join me in changing from within. I propose that the seed of hope is in the rising generation. We are young. We are ready for change. It may be true, though, that we have inherited a legacy of problems. We have been forgotten by our nation and taught incorrect truths. It may be true that we've inherited a world we wish we could simply ignore and start anew. But if you look past the facade of pop culture and punk attitude, you will see youth who are determined, audacious, and want to be something different. You will see youth who want to be a hero, who are looking for heroes. You will see youth who are asking the question, who am I? What can I offer to this world? You will see youth who ask the question, what is my generation? And this nation desperately needs this generation to find the answer to these questions. Because in every crisis, a nation needs a generation of heroes. We stand in view of a monument to the last hero generation of World War II, who made the hard sacrifices and hard choices to perpetuate freedom. This nation needs a new hero generation, and my generation must become the next hero generation. My generation around the world is the new hero generation because we will throw off the shackles of the great experiment of free love, free lunch, free job, free education. We will bring in a tide of change, and not in the form of another governmental, economic, or educational policy change, but in a fundamental change of a people's hearts, minds, and actions. Upon this kind of change depends the success of my future and my generation's future. We will swear off mediocrity, and we will save the world from bondage and restore its freedom. But to do this, we must emulate the founding fathers of our nation. They possess three core characteristics that are crucial to the legacy of freedom. These attributes have their roots in ancient Greece and are best described in the words Liber, Arete, and Agape. Liber is actually Latin for liberty. In ancient Roman times, before the Republic, there were two classes of people. There were the slaves and there were the free people. The free people could read, write, engage in contract, and they could think. And because they could think, they were called Liber. And they were free, and as Liber citizens, they ruled the Republic. The education system in America must stop being about achieving wealth and status, and it must start being about becoming and finding purpose greater than yourself. Second, we must possess Arete. Arete is a Greek word for excellence, virtue, and living up to one's full potentials. The Greeks understood that the good life, happiness, came when the individual lived in accordance with the purpose for which he or she was created and with natural law. Arete cannot and will not indulge the doctrines of moral relativism. It is the courage to stand up for what is right, what is universal, timeless, self-evident truths. It is dealing honestly with our fellow beings. Living it will improve our economy and our relationships. It is the financial, in the final analysis, people with Arete stand for what is right and what is just and own the consequences of their choices. Third and lastly, we must become a people who emanate agape. Agape is the Greek word for love. It is self-sacrificing, active, and purest form of love known to mankind. We must become a nation who loves, not because we were required to, but because it is a way of life. A people who act selflessly for the good of others and the future. No more borrowing trillions